Hey, good morning, friends. Bill here. How's your week going? Today is Thursday, December the 5th, and moving towards the end of the year, praise God. It's bowl season. We'll talk about a couple of things today. Bowl season this weekend is conference championship weekend, and then we got to start the new year and with a real just keeping the pedal down here, going college football championship, Gasparilla, Super Bowl, NBA All-Star, stuff like that. So we're going to cover some topics today, and if you want to send me a message while we're chatting, you can text me here, 423-724-7500, 423-724-7500. Let me know if you got any questions or send them here and I'll respond back. I'm going to try to make these times on doing live things three times a week, try to be more consistent about it. And anyway, hey man, this weekend, as college football comes to an end, the regular season, you've got two big conference championships, one in Atlanta, Georgia. Alex Spurr is going to lead some guys down there at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Saturday. I think you've got Georgia playing Texas. So you have a lot of Georgia fans, and I'm sure these Texas fans are excited. They want to come watch this stuff. So all that means is there should be a lot of people. Atlanta being a big city that it is, I'm sure it's got a lot of Texas grads there, a lot of people that love the state, and so they could be down there as well. The other one, Indianapolis, you have Penn State playing Oregon. And that's kind of a first for that conference as it expanded. I think Penn State had been in this a long time. Oregon is new to the conference, all that. So it could be a real opportunity for a lot of people. That's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for sinners. We're going to use that word, sinners, in these crowds. They said, why does your master eat with publicans and sinners so they could be saved, so he could preach and teach words of life to them? So that's what we're looking for, sinners, friends, looking for sinners to preach Christ to them and call them to repent and believe. Anyway, Brian Nine will be there, and Indianapolis with the crew. I think Stephen Ken will be there as well. So those two should be big time. If you happen to live in Charlotte, you've got Clemson playing SMU there on Saturday as well for the ACC Championship. I'd love to hear from you. I'm not sure anybody that I know is going down there unless Mike Andrews gets down there. So big weekend this weekend, conference championships. And one thing I want to share with you going forward here in these messages, it's like looking for these opportunities that are out there. How do you look for evangelistic opportunities? What do they look like? If you've never done this work before, maybe you're preaching now and you have a intersection you go to. Well, what I want to share with you also is kind of these one-time opportunities that roll into a city, which attract a lot of foot traffic, so you can go find a good spot and preach. So football games, we've obviously targeted that. You've also got, you have football season, and then you have championship games, playoff games. So a lot of times the playoff game has been my experience when I lived in Atlanta and went to a lot of their games, is the crowd there is different than the regular season crowd. And so let's say this, you live in the Atlanta area and the Falcons make the playoffs, maybe not this year, and you haven't been to any regular season games. You could live in Los Angeles for that matter, or Dallas. And then they get in the playoffs. You want to go to that game because it's going to be a new crowd of people. A lot of the season ticket holders are there, but it's going to be a brand new crowd because that's just the way these things work. So get these big games, these single-day big games, conference championship, football playoff games on your list, as well as opportunities to preach out when we're talking about football. Same in the other major sports playoffs, NHL, MLB, MLS, and NBA. When they enter playoff time, you're going to get a different crowd. You're going to get a lot different zeal about the games themselves, especially because these other leagues, they play so many home games. You've got NBA, NHL playing, MLB playing 80 home. Let's see. They play 80 regular season games, NBA, NHL, thereabouts, 40 home games. MLB, 160 games, 80 home games. After a while, you can lose your zeal. But when they enter the playoffs, then you definitely want to go there for that, because you're going to have a good crowd and great opportunity to preach. So just keep that in mind. And also, as we enter NCAA basketball, I know the season's already started, but hit those games, hit the tournament games as well. Just the whole thing, the whole dynamic of sports is what they're doing is trying to generate a lot of fluid attention would be a way to look at it. They want season ticket holders, but they also want new people to come in. If you watch how they pitch it, you'll see that dynamic. And so you live near UNC, you live near a college in Boston like Tom Cabral, you live near a school in Pittsburgh like Matthew Cochran, or you live near Knoxville like Ron Hartsville. Watch those games pop up. When they pop up, go get them, because those are ones where you don't have to be at every home game. That's my point there. So then we've got this weekend, again, Brian 9, Indianapolis, preaching there. If you're in the Indianapolis area, close to it, you want to get together with him and the guys, then you don't know them, send me a message here or text me 423-724-7500, and we'll put you in touch. Same with Alex Burt this weekend in Atlanta. That should be a really big deal. Atlanta's got a good setup. Both Indianapolis and Atlanta have good. They've organized their downtowns to be places for people to go preach. So if you want to go to join Alex, send me a message as well. Then we move into bowl season. I'm going to read through the bowl guys preaching. Again, what I'm going to do here is go through the list and also share with you what bowl games are missing someone. If you're in that area, know someone in that area, I appreciate you letting me know. So bowl season starts on December 14th. Alex Burt is at the Cricket Bowl. That's at Cricket Celebration Bowl. That's in Atlanta. And also David Day's at the bowl game in Montgomery, the IS4S Salute to Veterans Bowl. He's in Montgomery. So I'm looking for someone for the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. That's in North Dallas to preach up there. Boca Raton Bowl, we've got Mark Manan preaching there. LA Bowl hosted by Rick Garland's there. Oriole Carey's Bowl in New Orleans, David Robert is there. This link will be on this video. Staff Cure Bowl. Let me see where that's going to be played. December the 20th. That is in Camping World Bowl. If you live in Orlando, I'd love for you to find somebody to come preach at that game as well. That's a good stadium. You know, it's the Camping World Stadium's where it's at. That's a good stadium. And then the 20th, Lord willing, I'll be in Tampa, Florida at the Gasparilla Bowl. We have these playoff games for the first time, December 20 to 21, first round games. I'm not sure where they're going to be played, but we'll announce that ASAP. We've got the Idaho Bowl. We've got the Hawaii Bowl. Does anybody know anybody in Honolulu, Hawaii? December 26th, Diego Sandoval's preaching at the Rate Bowl in Phoenix. We've got the 68 Ventures Bowl. That's Detroit, December 26th. I'm looking for someone there. Some of these bowl games aren't really a good place to preach, so I'm going to leave them off. Joshua Tubbs on the 27th preaching at the Birmingham Bowl. John Dawson on the 27th preaching at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis. I'm looking for a couple guys for the Holiday Bowl. The 27th, that's in San Diego. And the SRS Distribution Bowl in Las Vegas, Nevada on the 27th as well. 28th, Tom Cabral is going to be at the Fenway Bowl in Boston. Pinstripe Bowl is December 28th. Hopefully Alex will be there. Waddell will be there. But if you know somebody in New York City, let me know. The New Mexico Bowl in Albuquerque, the 28th as well. If you know anybody there, let me know. The 28th, Lord willing, I'll be in the Pop-Tarts Bowl in Orlando. Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl, December 28th in Tucson, Arizona. David Hoffman. He and I just talked last night, had a great chat with him. He's got a good ministry going down there as well. The Military Bowl, that's in Annapolis. I need somebody there. The Alamo Bowl in San Antonio, same thing there. If you know anybody in San Antonio, I'd love to connect them. December 30th, John Coble at the Music City Bowl. The Rely Quest Bowl, December 31st. I'll be there. Where's that one going to be? That is in Tampa. December 31st. I knew that was the 31st. Sun Bowl, El Paso. I need looking for somebody there. Doc Shank will be at the Cheez-It Bowl on the 31st. Gerardo Rivera in Houston, Texas will be at the Texas Bowl. Diego will be at the Fiesta Bowl, December 31st. January 1, Alex Burt will be at the Chick-fil-A Bowl in Atlanta. Rick Garland at the Rose Bowl festivities there in Pasadena, California. David Robert at the Sugar Bowl. And Lord willing, on the 2nd, I'll be in Jacksonville at the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. First Responder Bowl, Gerald Ford Stadium, and that's not really a good stadium. That's a small stadium over there. And then Mike Andrews will be at the Dukes Mayo Bowl in Charlotte. Bob Maston, January 4th. I'm sure Bob will love to have some people join him. He's at the Bahamas Bowl. Seriously, if you want to go down and join Bob in the Bahamas, let me know. Bob is a wonderful man, and he'd love to have you down there. Probably put you to work doing some other ministry down there as well. And then hopefully we will have someone at the Orange Bowl on the 9th and the 10th, the Cotton Bowl. Those are the semifinal games for the college championship as well. So a lot going on there. And then if you come to the events page, this will be on the list as well. We've got the events of the new year. College Football Championship. Alex Burt is leading that in Atlanta, January 17 to 20. Gasparilla Fest. Tom Cabral and I will be in Tampa, Florida for that 300,000 person event. If you want to come down there, this is an amazing all-day event. 300,000 people, one of the biggest events in the country. I'd love to have you come down there. If you've never preached before, an event like this, you've got like an 8-hour window of gospel preaching. It's the perfect place to preach because at these big events, you have a fluid environment. Like it starts off slow, gets rowdy, starts getting dark, people start moving, their moods change. It's just the perfect environment to absorb this kind of work. February 6th and 9th, the Super Bowl. Got about 80 guys coming so far. I'd love to have you there in New Orleans with us. It's going to be, Lord willing, a great time. This is the first time we've really had this simple accommodation set up. We're staying, Lord willing, at the New Orleans Baptist Seminary. I want to say thank you to Noah and the guys at the Mission Lab at the seminary. So our rooms, and their rooms have 2 bunk beds in them with a restroom. The place where fellowship and our teaching is in one building, the Nelson Price building there on campus. And meals are on campus as well, at least breakfast. We're also having a 7-day preach-a-thon starting Monday, February the 7th through the weekend. So you got 5 days of preaching plus Saturday and Sunday, 7 days straight in New Orleans, Louisiana. NBA All-Star in San Francisco, February 14 to 16. You got Joe Henson, who's now preaching out in Provo, Utah, Salt Lake City. He's going to lead that for us. And here's the beauty of this event. I really want you to come because next year's Super Bowl is in San Francisco as well. So we're going to do a kind of a double duty, preach at the event and do some recon for next year's Super Bowl. Should be a wonderful time. Got a big house there, lots of beds, cheap event. Come down to San Francisco and preach Christ to those West Coast people. February 28th to March 2nd, Lord willing, I'll be in St. Petersburg, Florida for the Grand Prix. Got 4 or 5 guys coming already. Got room for 8. A really good 3-day event, hitting one of the biggest Grand Prix events in the nation. Good spot. St. Pete's a great place to preach. Final Four, San Antonio, Texas. That is a good city for preaching. You would be amazed if you haven't been to San Antonio of both how the Alamo attracts people. And last time we were there, the city did a marvelous job attracting fans out. It was an amazingly busy place, one of the busiest Final Fours I've ever seen. So I want to get that on the calendar for April 5 to 7 for you as well. Long Beach Grand Prix, April 11 to 13. Rick Garland's leading that. Long Beach, California, in southern, like northern Orange Beach, which is southern LA. You got to go to that. Rick's got a place to stay there. Had a good time last year. Get out there preaching the draft in Green Bay. Heath Putrell is leading that. Listen, this is going to be big. It's going to be really big because Green Bay, the historic football team, is hosting the draft, I think, for the first time ever. And all these sentimental football fans are going to want to be in Green Bay for the draft. It's going to be a big deal. Heath's a great team leader. He leads our Keep Your Finger on the Text expository preaching program. You want to be there for this. NFL Draft, Green Bay, April 24 to 26. Miami Grand Prix, Lord willing, I'll be there again, May 2 to 4. Good spot. Really, the Grand Prix there, what I'm looking for is really about 6 guys to cover, 6 to 9 guys to cover 3. Is that right? No, I'm confused. We need about 6 guys to cover 2 key locations where everybody's rolling by. So, man, get on board if you can. If you're in Miami, if you want some warm weather, want to get to a new city, come down and join down there. This will be the 3rd or 4th year I've been there. It's been great so far. And here's the granddaddy of them all, in a sense, the Kentucky Derby. Bobby McCrary leading the Derby again, May 2 to 4. This has turned into a magnificent event. I think there was 30-some-odd guys were last year, and it's just a wonderful place. A lot of great preachers come to the Derby. There could be 30, 35 men there. The Derby, they need us there. They need the team there. And I think we're working out whatever problems we've had with the authorities in the past. So it should be another outstanding event. Bobby does a fantastic job leading the team. And the Derby's in Kentucky, there in Louisville. It's a different location than some other events. And so, if you're living that Midwest part of the country, great place to come. It's an annual event in the same place. That really helps just create some continuity with the event. And so I think you'd enjoy being there. Blue Crab Festival, May 17, 18, Myrtle Beach. Jason McGow is leading that. Just a big festival in that area of South Carolina. We want to encourage you to preach at these kind of events. And so we're kind of modeling in a sense there with Jason, the guys there, finding a festival in your area close to you and setting up shop. And All you got to do, man, is get outside the gates where the people go on the festival, preach and pass out tracts. It's a simple work. Indy 500, May 23 or 25. Stephen Kendall leading that this year. Getting better. We're getting better at really covering the area. Stephen's doing a great job there. So put that on your list. The Granddaddy, you know, Formula, it's Grand Prix race there in Indianapolis. Niagara Falls Training, Ontario, Canada, May 30 to June 2, Niagara Falls. We had a great time there last year. A lot of Christian people in Canada love to see us out there preaching. I want to highly encourage you to come up there for some preaching. And the preaching training, the difference is we're just focusing on the training, focusing on the preaching, focusing on finding a place, focusing on prayer time. So if you've never preached or preached a little bit or just uncertain how this works, it's a time to come in with us and we'll sort of show you how this works instead of coming into a big event and kind of getting overwhelmed. I mean, you can learn things informally. That's one way we do our events. But here, we're going to specifically sit down and do some training about it at a good event. It's a good entry point. Bonnaroo Music and Art Festival, June 12 to 14. Terry Cohia leading that again. That's another event like the Derby in the same place every year. It allows a consistent ministry to develop, allow a consistent, group of guys come and evangelize there. Get that on your calendar. That's a different event. That's not a festival like the Blue Crab. That's not like in Niagara Falls. These people, it's a rowdy music fest, 3 days, and that's going to be a different experience. Montreal Grand Prix, June 13 to 15, Montreal, Canada. Brad Madewell and I went there last year. Had a great time. They speak French up there a lot, but they understood our Southern English, and we had a lot of good conversations and gave a lot of tracks. I highly encourage you to come to Montreal, or if you know any guys in Canada, both for the training in Niagara Falls and at the Montreal Grand Prix, send them my way if you don't mind, and let's see if we can plug them into what we're doing. Get the gospel to be preached up there in Canada. Whitfield Fellowship Conference, June 16 to 20. We'll stop for a second here and talk about this. Coming into the new year, we're going to emphasize really three new things we're trying to accomplish. One is campus preaching. We want to encourage you to get on your nearby campus and preach the gospel. And on the campus preaching page on the SFOI website, you'll see some guys that are preaching consistently there. Joe Toy, Heath Putzel, Joe Henson. You're going to add some other guys on there as well. And so they're going to give you an idea of where these guys go, what to do. You can contact them and ask them questions, how to get a campus ministry started as well. And then we're going to invite everyone who wants to do or is doing campus ministry, the Whitfield training, for two reasons. One, to go through Keep Your Finger in the Text Expository Preaching Conference. In other words, we're encouraging you to get on campus, and we're going to encourage you to preach sermons, and He's training does just that. We'll also have the typical administrative training if you want to be full-time about campus ministry that I lead. And so you can do both of those and then have either your own campus ministry there, or you can join the Whitfield program or become an SFOI evangelist and have a campus ministry as well. Whatever works for you on that end. We want to encourage you to come and go through this training of preaching sermons on campus, primarily because when you're on a campus frequently, you're going to see you have an opportunity to preach sermons, to preach who our great God is from multiple texts, multiple books, because you're there all the time. And that's kind of what it boils down to. Campus ministry is not a churn and burn situation. If you're going to be there all the time and you're really trying to dig deep, penetrate the consciousness of the campus and the spirituality of the campus as well, and preaching sermons is a way to do it. So if that's on your plate, you've thought about that, come to the training. Second, as you've heard me talk about SFOI, we're going to roll into other places for about 10 days to help guys in some of non-sort of Western countries get their open air preaching ministry started. Same thing there. We're going to talk about preaching, like the preaching thing. Preaching sermons is really critical to what we do here at SFOI, and I think you need to go through it. And we'll probably have some, shall we say, some physical training as well as to get in shape to go and do these things. Because we really, on those trips, we want to really keep a pretty intense pace, cover as much ground as possible. And likewise, again, if you want to be full-time in this work, you can join up and come to my training how to be full-time, and that entails administrative work, fundraising, stuff like that. And then also, become part of the SFOI team as well. And the other one is, we're going to talk about church planning for evangelists. Dr. Al Baker, who's planted 3 good, thriving Presbyterian churches, and Ryan Denton, you might know Ryan. He's out in Lubbock. He's actually got 2 churches started by open air preaching. They're going to come and talk about the practical application of planting a church. In other words, you're going to go through about 4 days of training with those 2 guys, and you can go home Monday and start planting the church. The goal here is not to bog you down with a bunch of things that don't lead you to planting the church immediately. We want you to plant it immediately or within a relatively quick time. That's what the training's all about. So you can come through and see how that works, just the practical application, and talk to them about it. And they will, especially Al, will be there to coach you after the week is over. So we're adding these 3 things: campus ministry, SFOI, and us planning a church. We want Christ preached, and we're pushing forward on that. And of course, the Whitfield program in general is for men who want to be a full-time itinerant preachers. Be full-time itinerant preachers. Itinerancy, it's an easy word to understand. It's kind of moving around in different locations. But you're going to come up with an area where you itinerate. You're going to go place to place to place over a 5-day period or a 10-day period and return consistently. You'll be a consistent presence in a location. Typically, I did this in Atlanta for 15 years. You're going to preach at all the main events and festivals in the city, itinerating through key areas in a big city. If you don't live in a big city, you can itinerate around where there are festivals and find the big events in the biggest city close to you and do that. Get on the campus, stuff like that. We'll talk about that, how to create a full-time schedule. But that's what the Whitfield program is: itinerant gospel preaching, calling sinners to repentance in faith. We'll stop right there, and then next time, as we move more through the schedule, we'll hit the next 6 months of what we're doing here at SFOI. So listen, friends, you know what I need to do? It's 22 minutes. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, I'll tell you what, let's just do this. Let's just get it done. I'm going to go here and talk about bowl games. I'm going to go through and talk about the schedule. We will have, we'll be on here tomorrow. Keep talking things up. So this week's, now what I'm doing here is going through a schedule to share with you opportunities that are out there if you live in certain areas. So we've got some links to sporting events, major league sports, and concerts and stuff, and that's what I'm going through. So starting on the 9th, that's when it starts, next Monday, you've got an NFL game in Dallas, Texas. Kickoff time 8:15. So when I say give you start time, think of this: be there 2.5 hours beforehand. Start preaching then, and then preach through 30 minutes after the game starts. You'll catch all the fans. So plan. It's a 3-hour swing. You've got 3 NHL games in Buffalo, New York City, and Montreal, Canada. Each of those games start at 7 p.m. The Montreal 7:30. NBA game in Toronto, Ontario on Monday starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll move to Tuesday. 11 NHL games. They are in Newark, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Raleigh, North Carolina, Columbus, Ohio, Elmont, New York, Nashville, Tennessee, Winnipeg, Canada, Edmonton, Canada, Salt Lake City, Utah, Vancouver, Canada, and Seattle, Washington. The start times start at 7 p.m. You can look at the schedule and see 7 p.m. is the earliest. I'll do a better job explaining next time, tomorrow or Saturday morning. 2 NBA games, one in Milwaukee, 7 p.m. start, and one in Oklahoma City. Oftentimes, Brady Brewer preaches at those OKC games. So if you're out in the OKC area, let me know. We'll try to connect you. That game is a 9:30 p.m. Eastern time start. Wednesday, 2 NHL games, one in Buffalo, one in Ottawa, Canada. Buffalo game starts at 7. Ottawa starts at 7:30. 2 NBA games, one in New York, 7 p.m. start. One in Houston, Texas, 9:30 p.m. start. And then Thursday, we will have, I'll stop with, let's see how many days we got here. We're going to go Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We will stop here. I'm going to stop right here on Wednesday. We will pick it up tomorrow when I get back on. You check out the link on the webpage. Listen, friends, thanks for tuning in. I want to encourage you to get out and preach. It's Christmas season, bowl season, lots of opportunity. Send me a message if you got any questions. I'd love to chat with you. 423-724-7500. Send me a message here. We'll talk to you soon.